going on, guys? My name is Chris Holowchuk, and this is another session of Hollow Sessions. Today's topic is, if you've lost a parent, then this video is for you. And the timing of this video will be released the day before the 10-year anniversary of my mom passing away. And I wanted to dedicate this video not just to her, but to anybody who's going through grief or loss of a loved one. And I wanted to share my story, the past 10 years and what that grief has looked like for me and the situation. And I'll even, spill some details I haven't shared with too many people. So it might be a little graphic in nature, but I want to be real and authentic about what happened. And I don't want to sugarcoat anything. So, we'll get started. So my mom, she passed away. Well, it's technically a heart attack, but she'd been a heavy drinker for pretty much as long as I've been alive. It got the best of her, unfortunately. She lost that battle. I did everything in my power I could to help her. It was, maybe the last couple of years of her life, the health issues were really starting to hit her. And, me, my aunt were wanting her to stop. And, she's a beautiful person deep down inside, but, when she had wine, it was like Jekyll and Hyde. She wasn't a very pleasant person to be around when she got drunk. And that was most of my childhood. And, let's say the last 6 months of her life, I didn't really talk to her. She got so bad off. Like, I did everything in my power I could to help her, and she kept drinking. She even went into a coma. You figured after that she would stop completely, and she did for a bit, but then hit the point of no return. She slipped up and never recovered. Her brain was starting to go, and our last physical encounter was actually not a good one. Actually got a little physical. She was not in a very kind of evil mindset and stuff, and I just got frustrated. I was doing everything in my power to help her, and she couldn't help herself, and I had to just walk away and protect my peace. And done all this helping her, and it was time to help myself. So I didn't talk to her. I'd actually blocked her number because she was getting very nasty with me. And just say about a couple weeks before she died, she called me on the hospital phone, and she had like a heart attack, and it was a stroke too or something. But her body was on her last leg, and I was at a little more peace with her. So I said, keep me updated and stuff. However, this details one of the biggest things that I had to do a lot of therapy, and even to this day, I at times haven't forgiven myself over it. But I forgot to unblock her number, and she died a couple weeks later. And I got a call from my aunt when it happened, and they said she was actually dead for a couple days. And my one aunt, who is an ex-cop, was the one who found her. And I don't wish that burden on anybody, but I'm thankful somebody with training like she did was the one who found her. But she said it's different when it's somebody somebody or that's family or friends or whatnot. It's way different. When I got there, there was with death, there are certain aspects, especially if somebody's been dead for a bit. That's where it gets a little graphic. Let's say smells that, you smell that and realize that's the woman who put you on this earth. It really messed with me when I went in, like crying and puking at the same time, like when I initially, found out what that smelled like. And, it's my childhood house that I grew up in for 20 years. And, I had to throw away quite a bit of my belongings because of that smell. And just hit me all at once. Luckily she had a great lawyer, attorney. Shout out to Pat Lee Pittman. She really helped fight off the bank. My mom had 2 mortgages taken out on that house, and my aunt was also power of attorney and one of the aunts that found her, and they really like fought off, every vulture in the banking industry that was trying to come after that house, and held it off for about a good 6 months to help me, process everything and figure out life now without her, and get mentally prepare myself to have to give it back to the bank. There's no way, I was 26 at the time. I couldn't afford, to keep that house. It was all the way in my hometown, like 11 hours from Nashville. I couldn't, it made no sense for me to keep it. So, I decided I had to give it back. And then also at the same time, my dad's house, he had his house on the market, and I'd say about 7 or 8 months after her death, both my childhood house and my dad's house got sold the same month. So I lost both my childhood houses that time. And I finally had enough time to get all the stuff into a storage unit, everything that I wanted to keep. She had developed a hoarding habit, so thankfully I had my aunts and uncles to help out. But also, when we were all going through grief, people get snippy and stuff, and I was being pressured to throw things away. I wasn't quite ready to, but they're like, "Oh, it's so much stuff, you gotta let go of it." It's like, I'm not ready yet. It just felt like at that time I was very pressured by people to make decisions when I wasn't ready yet, and even had friends, so-called friends, screw me over at times. I'm not gonna say who and what, because that's not important, but just know when you got somebody like that close to you that dies, and you're going through that, you're really gonna find out who your real friends are. And that was one of the biggest blessings in disguise from that time, is people who weren't really there for my best interest. I just let them go. And so I got the house sold off and everything, so now had to figure out life, who I really was at that point. And because I guess a lot of my identity was based on what she wanted me to be, my mom. And I had to figure out who I was. For the first time in my life, I had freedom to do so. So I went traveling with my job. They sent me to Texas, and I actually ended up living there for 2 years. I unexpectedly got an inheritance from my mom. She never got dipped into her IRA or retirement fund, and I got a good amount of money from, it was like $150,000 for it. And but that time in my life, I was very immature with finances, and to say I ended up blowing that in 2 years. I should have let it sit and grow the investment. And I was getting tired of my job, and I wanted to do music full time. That's why I've been trying to do that whole time. And it just gave me an opportunity to do so. And again, back to the friends situation, you find out who's there for you and who's not. When I got that inheritance, I experienced a lot of jealousy from people. And one of my biggest piece of advice I can give anybody who gets an inheritance is, don't tell anybody. It's like winning the lottery. Like, everybody's going to be bugging you for money, or people are going to hate on you because you get to just chill all day and not work when they're working. And it's just, I was never cocky about it or rubbing it into anybody's face. In fact, the toll that it took, losing my mom and stuff, like, there was no price tag that could make up for that. So, everybody's acting all jealous, but they didn't know, the burden I lived with each and every day after that. That not, wondering what if I'd unblocked my number or her number from my phone, if I'd done all I could to save her and stuff, and the smell and all that was going through me those first couple of years after her death. I was still processing that, and all these people that are jealous of me, they didn't see that. They didn't know what burden I lived with each and every day of my life. And honestly, it probably wasn't until fairly recently that I could finally like let go and forgive myself for letting that happen, even though, yeah, it wasn't really my fault, but I blamed myself for the longest time for her death. And yeah, if any good came out of this, it helped me figure out who I am. Really triggered a spiritual awakening in me. That's when I started getting into more religion, or not religion so much. I came later on, but spirituality and therapy and stuff, and just really like, I guess you could say, fixing myself. Like just wanted to get better. I wanted to heal, and it helped me do that. And just those first few years, especially up to COVID, that I was still figuring life out. It was like after COVID happened and bought my first house, I felt like life was slowly starting to come back and get into a better place. I blew that money I inherited in 2 years. It's like 2019, I had to, from 2017 2019, I could live off of that, but I pretty much had to go right back to work in 2019. That forced me to leave Texas, and I don't know, kind of the time I was looking for a reason to leave, because I've been doing the music thing for a bit and just didn't seem like it was panning out to where I could make a full income on music. I feel like I always had to have something else besides that going on to pay the bills. But once I was in Nashville, I started piling up expenses and stuff. So but anyways, going through those first 5 years, I really had to dig down deep to find out who I was, and I finally got to a good place. And the second half of those 10 years though, maybe I was going through different problems. I don't think her so much was issue anymore. Is more so carrying out life as this new version of myself from all the spirituality and stuff. And I still went through a couple more heartbreaks after that, but I guess the one silver lining behind it is, after going through something like that, those heartbreaks, even though they didn't hurt near as bad as that situation. And anybody listening that lost a parent, I tell this all to you not as wanting sympathy. I've already forgiven myself and healed from it. It's more so to help you out. Hopefully what I went through is way harder than what you went through. I really hope that. Like, I don't want anybody to go through what I went through, not even my worst enemy. And I just want to be able to help anybody who's going through a grief. It's losing a parent's one of the hardest things you ever go through, except God forbid you lose a kid. That'd probably be worse, and I don't want anybody to go through that. But losing parents, it's the hardest grief I've ever had to go through, losing my mom. And it makes me more thankful for my dad, having him around. I try to cherish each every moment with him. I don't take it for granted. And just the people in my life, I try to make sure I'm more present with them, show up for them, because you really don't know when your last day is. God can take you back like that. So just cherish every moment you got with each person that is in your life and adds value to it, and make sure you're giving them value back. And just material items are nice, but at the end of the day, you can't take them with you. That's not what's important. What's important is the people in your life. And if anything that death taught me is that very thing. It's all about your relationships. So without that, there's no real currency. Everything else is just surface level. So if you've lost a parent, I hope it's helped to give you some sort of comfort, some sort of reassurance. Things will get better. And I guess one of the sayings are, you don't ever get over it, you get used to their absence, which I know doesn't sound comforting, but through time, it does get better. I promise it does. No matter how dramatic it is, if you're able to put in the work and just process everything correctly and not, use substances or, vices to distract yourself and actually get through it, then you'll come out a better person and be able to show up more for this world and yeah, everybody in your life and be the best you can be. So yeah, these moments they can be blessings in disguise if you make it that way. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If it did help, if you can relate, if you've lost a loved one, especially a parent, please do leave a comment. I'd love to hear your story. And if you found any value in this, please do like and subscribe to my channel. Helps get the message out to more and more people every day. Anyways, with that being said, my name is Chris Holacek, and Holla is hollin' out.